Please take it away.
All right, good evening, fellow Rotarians, and thank you very much, the District Learning Facilitator for District 9126, Rotarian Past District Secretary Dolu Oyeyola, for that wonderful introduction. I want to specially recognize the District Governor, Eskiolowo Kayode Oluwolagba, for extending this invitation to me. I'm really much glad and appreciated. The past district governor, the Yeye of the source, I recognize you. Thank you for joining all the way from London. We always remember that you started all this process, of redistricting when the resolution was taken at the district conference in Ilorin. To the district governor nominee and also the district governor-elect that we're expecting, I recognize you, and also my club president and club members that also joined, all the way from Rotary Club of Wuse Central. I also recognize you all, for joining this session. I was asked to, come and talk on this membership series, which I will try my best to cover in the next 30 minutes based on the time that's allotted to me. It's just talking about practical ways of running a Rotary club. It's going to be centered in that direction. And you know that for you to be able to run your Rotary club, there is need for a proper club administration. And when there's a proper club administration, that is how a Rotary club can effectively operate. And I believe that some of the learning sessions that we want to talk about today will be in twofold: how a club should operate, running your meetings, and also the roles and responsibilities, of the club, either the committee, either the board, or either the member. And I believe that by the end of this session, we'll be able to ask questions if we have not been able to get clarification. Now, I want to just give us some background information so that we'll be able to understand exactly what we are talking about when it comes to the issues at hand. In United States of America, we have about 7,155 Rotary clubs as at September ending. And their membership strength is about 269,000. If you look at the population of the United States, you will notice that they have about 345 million people. Note, they have over 269,000 Rotarians spread across 7,155 clubs. Now, when you come to Africa, when you come to Nigeria, Nigeria has the largest Rotary clubs of 525 clubs. However, our membership strength is 14,362 as at September ending. Nigeria has a population of over 220 million. If you look at that statistics, you will discover that the average club has just about 27 members per club in Nigeria. When you now look at Uganda, which comes next as the highest clubs in Africa that is, competing with Nigeria. Nigeria has 6 districts. Uganda has 2 districts, combining Tanzania with their districts. They have 199 clubs, 199 clubs only, but they have 7,528 members in those clubs, giving an average of 38 members. But Uganda has a population of just 50 million. So you can see, the kind of difference that we have when it comes to club membership, within where Rotary started and with us here in Africa. Now, if we distill down to District 9126, District 9126 have 64 clubs as of September ending. And the total membership is about 1,552 reported, so that, these data are from the website. So if you have more, that means they've not reported it. So we have 64 clubs with only 1,552. Suffice to say, For every club, for every district, you must have at least 2,100 members in the club. Now, in District 9126, 32% are women. I know Ann Austin will be smiling that she's one of those women that is in the 1,452, while 68%,
Okay,
68% are men. You can see that we have more men doing Rotary than women in District 9126. Anyhow, that statistics is also applicable to all the world. So all the women in Rotary, then we know that there's so many things that still has to be done in that direction. Now, what about the age segmentation for District 9126? 298 members out of these 1,452 are under 40, while between 40 and 49 are 472, where you have most of the membership in District 9126. Those that are above 50, where the district governor will fall in, and district governor nominated and so many other persons, they have about 451 members in that position. And shockingly enough, members that are above 70 are 33 in the whole of District 9126. You might ask, why is this background information needed? You will discover that you have great potentials of membership growth by showing you these statistics. And it will help you to know and think critically on how you can run your club. Because when you have 70 members that are 33 members that are above 70 in age, then you still have to make sure that when you are running your meetings, you consider those numbers. When you have 451 people in clubs spread across the districts that are ranged between 50 to 69, you know that there's a kind of meeting setup, that will also fit that age. And when you have people that are under 40 as well, there's a kind of meeting setup that you must use to target those members. And that is why when you must administer a club, all these factors, numbers, gender, age, would always play a factor for you to be able to run an effective Rotary club in our districts. Before I delve into the topic of the day with this background information, we need to be involved. Everybody needs to be involved when it comes to club administration, because we must hold ourselves accountable. And one of the things I always say with this Chinese proverb is that, tell me and I'll forget. Show me, I may remember. But when you involve me, I will understand. And that is the most critical aspect of how clubs should be run. Everybody must be involved. That would make them to understand exactly how they will run a successful club, because everybody is a potential leader in any club. And when they are not involved, definitely when they are saddled with the position of running the club, they will run the club with a position of not knowing how to run the club. And that is why everybody must be involved from the very onset. If we go further to now exactly talk about how we can run an effective club, there are effective ways that we can run a club. What do we even know and describe as an effective Rotary club? An effective Rotary club is able to do one or more of all these things. You must be able to sustain or increase the membership base. That means that in the year 2023-2024, the total number of members in the Rotary Club of Agodi was maybe 15. Then, for you to be able to be an effective club, you must sustain that 15 members and increase it as well, to at least a minimum of 21. That is when you are described as running an effective Rotary club. If you are running an effective Rotary club, you must be able to implement successful projects that will address the needs of the community that you find yourself, or even in other communities around the country. I've seen clubs in Lagos coming to Ilesha to carry out a project. the district governor nominee in 91111, when she was president, carried out a project in Elisha in the year 2015, 2016. That is a hallmark of a successful and effective Rotary Club. An effective Rotary Club should be able to support the Rotary Foundation. It pains some of us when we see people that are in Rotary for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 10 years, that have not contributed a single dollar to the Rotary Foundation, or clubs that are even still showing nil. There are some clubs that are showing nil, because when we look at statistics, we'll see non-giving clubs. It comes out every year. There are clubs that appear as non-giving clubs every Rotary year. That is not the hallmark of an effective club. That is not an hallmark of a club that is being run effectively. That is not an hallmark of a club that has proper administration in place. Because when you have a proper administration in place, every committee will be functional, will be effective, and will do what is expected of them to do. Then another thing that we all know about an effective club, Rotary Club of Osogbo will always be keeping their head high no matter what. Why? They are produced 2 district governors. Rotary Club of Akure City will always be putting their heads right now because they have produced a district governor elect. So if you cannot develop leaders that are capable of serving beyond the club level, that club is not yet an effective club. That club is not properly administered. That club is not running effectively. And that is the hallmark, of an effective club. But we will not delve into all these things because this is going to be in 3 parts. I'm going to just take on 1 or 2 aspects of it. One of the things that we need to know is, how are we running meetings? What are the meetings that needs to be administered in our clubs in every Rotary year? I broke it down and said that for every club, these meetings must always hold every Rotary year. So don't think that you can avoid it next Rotary year. Don't think you can avoid it in 2 years' time, that maybe when DGN or Lani becomes this one, you can avoid one. No, it is a Rotary, a constant thing that rotates every year. It's just like your investiture, you must do it every year. So you must be prepared for it no matter what. So what types of meetings does a proper club run? Number 1, your regular meetings, either physical or virtual. That is a constant. Your board meetings must hold once every month. Business meetings must hold once every month. Then club assemblies. I was in a presentation one day and somebody was arguing and said club assembly is only once a year. And I said, have you read your manuals of procedures? Do you have checked your bylaws? That the minimum number of club assemblies that must be held in a Rotary year is 4. But it is recommended that it has to be 6. And why is it 6? Because whenever you elect new members, new board members, there must be a joint club assembly before the Rotary year starts. And then there's also a club assembly during the district governor's visits. That makes it additional 2 apart from your normal quarterly club assemblies, which makes it 6. So I now explained to the fellow, and the person said, oh, I never thought that. I thought it's once a year. When district governor comes, that's the club assembly, and that is all. Maybe that is how the person's club has been run, which has not been in the right way to be done. So these meetings are mandatory and needs to be done. When you are doing your club meetings, either it's a virtual or physical, you must run that meeting as if you are in a physical meeting. Don't think that because you are online, we have e-clubs now, and they are professional in the way they run their meetings. The same way you run your physical meetings should be the same way you run your virtual meetings. Now, I'll just, talk about a little about, how to run your meetings. These are some of the components that must always happen in every club for proper administration. No matter what, no matter how professional you are, no matter how serious you want to be, no matter how you want to put on your suit and tie or your babariga at every meeting, there must always be a social event in any month or any quarter or biannually of your club. Because all work and no play make Jacks a dull boy. There must always be a social event, social meeting. Some clubs, they go out and say, no, we want to just go out to a garden, and that is where we are going to hold our meeting for this week. Always try and tweak social events into your club meeting. We don't say that make it 4 times a month. What we are saying is that at least tweak it in such a way that it has to be done. Then in your club meeting, let there be an opportunity for networking and training events. We don't want to see agenda. I've been seeing clubs that will send agendas, object of Rotary, 4-week test, report of last meeting, song, jokes, any reports, loyal toast, sergeant attendance performance. That is the end of the meeting. How do you want people to come for meetings on a regular basis when there's no opportunity for people to learn? There's no opportunity for people to display their skills. There's no opportunity for people to interact and intertwine amongst themselves. If these are not present in club meetings, it is not being run properly. A club has to have service projects. I see some clubs will tell you that, oh, thoughts meetings of the month, we are going to be in our adopted community, carrying out a service project. I saw some flyers, I don't know whether it's Jericho Metro, that they went to feed, they have a monthly or maybe quarterly, but correct me if I'm wrong, if there's any Jericho Metro, that they have a food bank that they take and feed, a community. This is service project as part of your meeting. I can tell you that if people are involved, if people partake out of these projects, they would always want to be part of your meetings no matter what. Then we have to create an engaging club experience in our meetings. When you enter a club, president is the one that will talk from beginning to the end. No other person will talk. What kind of meeting is that? The president will be the one that will announce reports. The president will be the one to do committee meeting. The president will be the one that will welcome. The president is the one that would set up the meeting. We are not going to be running a proper club. It can't be administered properly when the president or one member of the club is the one doing everything. How are we creating an engaging experience for members? People must be able to be engaged. I was in a meeting. I always say it. They appointed somebody as the sergeant at arms. The person said, oh, well, after 5 years of being in this club, this is my first time of doing sergeant at arms in this club. That means the person has been looking forward to do sergeant at arms. Even if you have a permanent sergeant at arms, there are some clubs that rotate it. So you must create an engaging club experience when people come for meetings. I've seen clubs that do not hold regular meetings. You go to their venue, they will tell you that, oh, we are not meeting today. We postponed the meeting. No, there was no quorum, so we are not meeting. If you are not holding a regular meeting, that club cannot survive. That club is not properly administered. We must always hold regular meetings no matter what. Now, let me move on because my time is really going fast, at this meeting. One of the things that when we are running our meetings that we need to also always put at the back of our minds as board members or as president or as leaders of the club, I've said it, you must create an engaging and unique club experience for every member. Why I brought out the statistics of the age and gender is that there are some clubs that, they will just, it's only men. They are not gender sensitive. They will not call the woman. They will not call, the other genders. They always, it is a men's world. This would not create an engaging brand of membership. Imagine you have 70 and above members. You are not engaging them. They are not being infused in your club meetings. They come, they go. At the end of the day, they'll stop coming one of these days. And we need expertise of the elders no matter what. We need historical information from the elders. So we must engage so that we can have a unique club experience that we instill on every member of the club. We must make sure that our meetings is a avenue of creating proper connections. What is Rotary all about? Friendship. What is it about? Networking. What is it all about? Professionals united in the ideal of service. And when the meetings don't create that connections that we can have, oh my God, people will not be coming for meetings. And when people don't come for meetings, you cannot run an effective meeting no matter what. Always create a proper connections at your meetings. I know some clubs, my club inclusive, they put the names of, some people don't even know the names of their other club members. But, have you felt joy when somebody calls you by name and you start explaining, oh, so this person knows my name? It's connection. There's a connection one way or the other. And the more we are connected with one another, the more our meetings will be more effective. One of the things that we must do when we are running our meetings as leaders, we must avoid conflicts in clubs. It will exist, so don't get me wrong, it will exist, but we must prevent it as much as possible. We don't say that there will be no cliques. There are healthy cliques. There are cliques that either they make the club or they destroy the club. We must work with every aspect of club members. It might be the women, it might be the young ones, it might be the middle-aged ones, it might be the older ones. However, try and avoid conflicts when you are at meetings. There is also another thing that we have to do. We must always involve and make the meeting fun. I don't object to people making jokes when they are in meetings, not the one that you say, okay, it's time for jokes. I'm not talking about that one. Maybe in your response, you can create a jocular way of responding to some things and everybody will laugh. It also helps in building an effective meeting. Then delegation is also important. We must delegate and enable members to be involved in club activities. Oh, Rotarian Tamedo, please, you are the one that would set up the meetings, with the club admin or something. You are the one that will look for a guest speaker. Oh, you are the one that would provide refreshments. Oh, you are the one that will bring music, party after party or party before party or meeting after meeting or suya before meeting. Get and delegate people to do it, on your behalf. I'm sorry, I cannot be able to expatiate more on this, but hopefully you'll be able to see more of what this presentation is all about when you go back, to ruminate on it. Now, the second part of this is, creating a club experience where we will be involved. I said one of the things that we neglect, as clubs, when we are administering clubs, is that we don't brand ourselves. Our image is so poor. Our ambience is so, I'm sorry to use the word, disgusting for people to want to come in. Imagine you go to a club meeting and the first thing that comes your way is a rat running around, your leg, or the roof is leaking with water. If you are bringing a commissioner, a governor or something to that kind of meeting room, will the person come back? Absolutely not. So the ambience of our meeting room is a very, very critical factor to enhance the productivity of every club administration. You have to be careful about the lighting. You have to look at whether it is hot, people are not fanning themselves, the ACs are working wet, the environment is, does not have noise, because, maybe there's a fish garden beside where you are meeting and the noise of the music is coming or the people watching football are coming your way. That meeting ambience is going to be wrong. What about the furnitures? Some more people are careful about which furnitures are in the room. What is the design of the room? I showed some pictures there. You can see this is the president of a club addressing the members. Definitely, no matter where this picture goes to, people will know that it's a Rotary Club meeting because it is well branded. Everything is well branded. And that is one of ways we can administer clubs for a very, successful activities and meetings and administration, as the case, may be. The next thing is proper structures of our clubs, to make it a proper administered club. Because when a club, an effective Rotary club administration involves organized people. If people are not organized, you cannot administer that club properly. Imagine a board of 13 members are not united. They are not, coming for a common goal. They are not using the same resources. That club will be in disarray. So club must operate efficiently to provide services to the community so that they can attract and retain their members, and also to be able to develop leaders that will serve above the club, or will serve within the club, serve above the club, and even serve in Rotary International. So how are you structured? We must have a proper structure in our various clubs to be able to administer it properly. Now, we have the governance documents, and this is always a question I ask people. Do you know Rotary? Oh, yes, I know Rotary. Do you know what governs Rotary? Do you know what are the governance documents? A lot of people don't know what it is. There are two major documents that we must always know about. The Manual of Procedures is a very important document that every Rotary members must have. And what is the purpose of the Manual of Procedures, the MOP? It's just to provide leaders with the constitution and governance documents that is relevant to their service. The manual is published every 3 years. There's a council of legislation that is already going on that would enact the one for 2025. Next Rotary year, there will be a new manual of procedures. And what is contained in the manual of procedure? The constitution, the bylaws, the standard Rotary Club constitution, the recommended Rotary Club bylaws, and the ones for the Rotary Foundation of Rotary International. There's also another document that we must always know. A lot of people don't even know about it. Rotary Code of Policies. And what is the Rotary Code of Policies? It's a document that modifies and brings out whatever decision that is made by the Board of Rotary International, which is also included as part of policies, because they cannot wait for every 3 years to enact some policies. So the Rotary Code of Policies brings out those decisions of the board, or maybe at any conventions, or maybe at any council of legislations or council of resolutions. These are contained in the Rotary Code of, and it's constantly being updated. The last one was in April. I believe that the next one will soon come out, that will update the, policies and decisions that have been made, by the club. I know I have 5 more minutes, but I'll soon almost be rounding up now. So these are the governance documents of any club. I asked Rotary members, have you seen the bylaws of your club? Most of them, they only see it during district governors' visits. That's even if they see it. Most of them don't even know about the constitution of Rotary. Most of them don't even have manual of procedures. Even now that, is, before we buy it, now it's online. You can see the soft copy. A lot of people still don't have it. So we need to have this governance document to be able to run our various clubs. Then when we talk about administrative responsibilities in club, what does it involve? It involves planning and organizing your weekly meetings and programs effectively. Admitting your club also includes promoting fellowship among club members. Your club members must fellowship amongst themselves. How many of you know each other's offices? A lot of people, they only meet at meetings, and that is when they know. They don't know their office. They don't know what job they are doing. They don't know what trades they are involved in. They don't know, the family life of others. When they say family fun day, they only come with themselves, they won't bring their spouse, they won't bring their spouses, they will not bring their grandmother's spouses or something like that. Everybody would not be able to know themselves because lack of fellowship. And a proper club, well administered, has the responsibility of bringing fellowship amongst members. The club's member wants to be informed. They don't want to be hearing essay. They don't want to be hearing rumors. They don't want to be hearing gossips. Please disseminate information to all members. The board met on so date and we agreed that this is what we should do. This is the way forward for the club. This is the way forward. Let it be informed. Let them be informed. And that is why checklists of district governors always include newsletters. And you discover that a lot of people, a lot of clubs don't even issue newsletters. Even if they issue newsletter, is about the president's pictures alone. Presidents in Mauritius, presidents in Oshogbo, presidents in Ibadan. It will not be about members. And that is part of image building for clubs. There was somebody that called me, when I was district governor, when our district newsletter went, he said, how come my picture, I was not featured on the newsletter and I was prominent during your visits. I had to apologize. Next one, I had to look for a picture to put the person in. It shows how people are so much engrossed in how information about the club, about themselves are also projected. When you are to administer a club properly, you must be concerned about the finances of the club. And that is about collecting dues. And when we are talking about collecting dues, it's not about you announcing it every meeting. It's not about you posting it on the platform. Honestly speaking, it can be some way of study, but the best way that you can collect dues from members, if you give them a reason that we want them to pay, that yes, this club is doing well, yes, meetings are run properly, yes, projects are being done, they will naturally pay their dues. Some needs to be forced to, I'm not saying that, but when I have benefits that I know I'm deriving, I would naturally want to make it a part of what I do first when I'm making my payments. So clubs properly administered will not find it difficult collecting dues from members. So you must also, maintain a club membership list. Honestly speaking, that is why they even want district governors to visit. When I ask classification survey from members, a lot of people don't know their classification even in clubs. When you ask them to what is your classification? I am a lawyer. What is your classification? I am a businessman. That shows that our club membership list is not properly done. Classification is another topic that, I believe the district learning facilitator would look at, to, talk about in a later feature. Then you need to track club attendance at all times. And one of the things, although I don't know how mandatory it is now, is you must report monthly basis to the secretariats, your club attendance, how many people came in the month. There was a member, a data analyst, in Rotary Club Abuja, the grandfathers, then designed a template in which that they track every members. Do you know what? The members were even the ones that were against it. Why? Because it will show their lack of coming for meetings. Because it will be glaring that you are not coming for meetings based on that tracking of attendance. So people were resisting it. Some people were happy about it. So when they go for other club meetings, they will be like, I have submitted my makeup card though. Then they will put it, as part of makeup, there's a position for makeup and regular attendance. Track your club attendance. It makes your administration effective. Then when we talk about, committees and membership of, a club to be able to run it properly, always be guided by the standard Rotary Club Constitution, which outlines administrative requirements that every club must always satisfy. The recommended club bylaws is there, which can be tailored to suit each club's needs. You cannot alter it. You can only make it suit your club needs so that it can be included in your administrative procedures. So if you decide that fourth meeting of the month is going to be a hangout, include it in the bylaw. If you are going to decide that oh, we are going to meet twice a month, one physical, two physical, one online, and one separate. Include it in your bylaws. The only thing is that you cannot change that you want one meeting a month. I've read the proposals for Council of Legislation. One of the proposals was that a club in Japan was saying that Rotary should even change this flexible meeting, that we should hold meeting every week, because that makes them to come together, to see one another, to bond together. So you can imagine when some people want flexibility of, let me come once a month, some want it every week in that direction. So tailor your constitutions to fit your bylaws and what I want to say is your traditions and your procedures. Let it be incorporated in the bylaws to make it more effective. So the next thing which we have to look at in club administration is this. I believe we are going to talk more about it later on. Rotary has changed some of these things. We know we have club boards. Who are the members of the club boards? These are standard ones that the Rotary International expects, and they always expect you to report them. And that is why these are the new roles that we believe that we are supposed to be electing into our various boards on a yearly basis. The president, the secretary, the treasurer, the vice president, the club learning facilitator, the club membership chair, the club public image chair, the club foundation chair, the club young leaders contact, and exec secretary, which can also be the club admin. So gone are the days when you have director of vocational service, director of youth service, director of admin. These are the mandatory ones that are expected. I believe that clubs should now start tailoring their boards towards this line, so that, because they would enable all their members to get information directly from Rotary. So let us adapt this new method. We can engage ourselves further in that direction, but this is what Rotary is expecting in that direction. We can go back to our various clubs and look at how a board can be composed. We have, the composition of each board and what committees can come under it. Always remember that the board is elected, committees are appointed. They are prerogatives of the president and the board, but the board members are elected. So you can form a lot of committees, but incorporate it in your bylaws to run your club. I would like to conclude in this manner, because we all know that the management of a Rotary Club is the responsibility of the board. That's the truth. The management of a Rotary Club is the responsibility of the club, of the board. And that is why there's an article 11 or so, board decision final. If you go and read your MOP, I think it's an article 11, if I'm not mistaken. The board must always ensure that they meet the requirement of Rotary International. The board must always ensure that the club is in compliance with proper governance, which includes up-to-date constitution and bylaws. That is why district governors always request to have that at every of their visits. Then they expect them to conduct meetings and relay information to members. I must tell you that the very first step to meet the requirement of running an effective club starts with the kind of people you elect into the board of the club. If you elect the right people, they will run the club responsibly, they will make the club effective, they will make the club a functional club, and they will make this club a successful Rotary club that everybody wants to join. Thank you very much for listening. I hope that with this little points of mine, we'll be able to know that we are expected to run our clubs more effectively for greater performance. God bless you all, and thank you for inviting me.
Fantastic presentation.
Thank you,
Fantastic.
thank you, thank you, thank you very, very much. ARF FCC, past district governor. I mean, you can see from all of the reactions and even the comments that this is one topic that is long overdue, and your delivery, your mastery of the topic, and the way you cut right to the heart of the issue is something that is extremely well appreciated. Uh, as you spoke, all of us, I'm sure, were able to identify in our clubs the things that we were not doing well enough. And this is the essence of this learning series, so that we'll be able to go back to our clubs and be able to make improvements, so that we have functional clubs and clubs that are able to run properly. It is when we are able to run properly that we'll be able to deliver optimally to our communities. Thank you, sir. In the next 5 minutes, we are going to take just 5 questions. Just 5 questions. So please, if you have a question for our guest speaker, kindly just raise your hand. Use the reaction button on your platform to raise a hand. I would identify those 5 that will be able to ask, that will have the privilege of asking questions. I'm sorry we will not be able to take everybody, of course. So we'll be able to only take 5. So just raise your hand. I'll be able to identify, and then we will take the first 5 that raises their hands. So use your reaction button to raise a hand so that I'm able to identify. I want to specially recognize and welcome our past district governor, PDG Obafunsho Ogokeye. He must have struck in while the lecture was going on. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us. We appreciate your presence this evening. So, fellow Rotarians, I am still waiting to see those that want to ask a question. Please signify by raising your hand, not on your video, please. Raise your hand on your platform. That's when I'll be able to see you. Questions? Thank you so much. I have PDS Mohammed Dan Hassan. Do I see you raising your hand? Okay, no. Rotary Olusegun Ewedemi.
Okay.
All right, please go ahead while we wait for others to signify. Did you raise your hand to ask a question?
Not at all, not at all.
Oh, all right, that's fine then.
All right, PDS, I can go ahead.
All right, PDS, please go ahead. You have the floor.
Thank you very much. I'd like to thank PDS Oyedokun for that thought-provoking presentation. To go straight to the point, my question is, where we have unhealthy situations in clubs leading to the board members calling for the impeachment of the president, what will be the best way to handle such situations before they get to that level, or even when they do get to that level? What will be the best situation to resolve the issues that might lead to impeachment of the president or any of the board members? Thank you.
Thank you very much, PDS Danasan. I think it will be safer for us to take all questions and then have PDG respond to them at once. So if there's any other person that has a question to ask, now is the time. Just signify so that I can recognize you, please. If you're finding it difficult to raise your hand with the app, you can just unmute to identify yourself. Okay, great.
I see Rotary Kabiesi Adeoye. Your hand is up. You are recognized. After that, we will take PDG and Olugbenga Abiono. Kabiesi, please proceed.
Good evening, my PDS and my PDG. My question is, how many times, what is the interval of time that a club bylaw can be amended? Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Bearing the fact that
Kabiesi.
there are new innovations.
All right, thank you so much. Rotary and Kehinde, please go ahead with your question.
Yeah, thank you very much, and good evening. The PDG, Oyedokun, PDS, and all Rotarians at the meeting. During the course of this training, you mentioned that club officers have taken it. The listening of club officers have taken a new dimension. For example, there's no more use of director, this director, that. Now, those that have, the president have already appointed their club officers and tagged them directors. Should they revert to the new one, or they should continue what they have used? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Rotary Kendege. That's a lovely question. The last person to ask a question before our PDG answers will be Rotarian Olugbenga Abiono. Please, you have the floor. Rotarian Abiono, are you ready to ask your question? Okay, if you
Yes, I'm ready to ask my question. Good evening, everybody.
okay, that's
Good evening, my
Rotarian
leaders.
Igodalo.
Yeah,
Okay.
Rotarian Igodalo on the line.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, my question is, like in my district, most clubs in the district do not even know what makeup card is all about. For me, I was opportune to know what makeup card is because I started my Rotary life right from my Rotary days, and I also did Rotary in District 911, former 9110, Lagos, and it's as if everybody are now taking things to be the norms. You don't have to attend meetings and the rest. Is there a way we can curb this flexibility in terms of what they call changes in the present day Rotary meetings, so that we can come back to that old ways? Because just as somebody said, I agree with them that the physical meeting bound us further. Going with the online, all those flexibility and the rest makes Rotary fizzle away over time. So is there a way we can come back to the way it was? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rotarian Joshua. Your question is noted. Unfortunately, we will not be able to take everyone. So the final question we will take will be from Olubisi Yomila Inka. That was the fifth and the final question. Then our PDG will respond. So Rotarian Yomila Inka, please proceed.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Rotary leaders. Good evening, fellow Rotarians. Yeah, my question has two parts. The first one is like a follow-up to the very first question that was asked about. So I'm saying, if we talk about that one was about impeaching a president. Okay, how do you handle a situation where a president wakes up and says, "I'm no longer interested in being your president," or even in being the member of your club? How do you handle that? That's part A. Part B is, what would PDG recommend as the composition of a good board of a club? Young, old, or a mixture of the two? What would he recommend? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Those were wonderful questions from PDS Dan Hassan, Rotarian Adeoye, Rotarian Kayode Ige, Rotarian Igodalo, and then Rotarian BC Yomilayinka. I would now yield the floor to our guest speaker, PDG Oyedokun, to please do justice to these questions. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much, my district learning facilitator for District 9126. I was almost saying that you are not gender sensitive, but you called a female to also ask a question.
Thank God I escaped that.
So interesting, you're right in that direction. All right, I'll take the questions as I'll take it sequentially as it was asked. Well, impeaching of the club presidents, I ended my slides, by saying that the quality of people we elect to our board matters a lot. And that responsibility falls into the hands of each and every one of everybody in the club. So one of the first steps is when you elect the right set of people, chances are there that maybe 20% of the time they might, have squabbles, but 80% of the time they might have, a cohesion in their deal. But if at maybe 20% they don't have, the MOP Article 24, talks about mediation and arbitration. We can look at that, to be able to sort it out, so that it doesn't come into impeaching of the president or impeaching, because honestly, the board has some powers, because we have elected them to decide on behalf of the club, to run the club on our behalf. So, but we can move into mediation, we can move into arbitration, and then we can now look at how we can sort out that thing. The last resort is impeaching a president. Is always the last resort. And I believe that we should not use that, especially except it comes into criminal activities in that direction. So in that, let us look at Article 24 to be able to see how we can mediate, arbitrate, and if there's no resolution, then we can now make it the last option, that there's no option that this president just have to go. But you can also first suspend, because like a district governor made a clause for suspension. It's only when they fall below the minimum that they can be recommended for termination. So let's look at this option in that direction. Then I can now switch into the last question. We said that if it is the president that now resigns, and said that I'm not doing again, well, we cannot force somebody to continue in a role they don't want to do again. And that is why the bylaws specifically say that if there is a vacancy in the board, the other members of the board has the responsibility of electing who will take over in that situation, either amongst themselves or, from the club, which will now be ratified, at a club assembly in that direction. So that one will help in resolving that issue. A club president might decide to jackpot, at the middle of the term, and definitely if the vice president cannot serve out the term, but the club feels that, the board feels that, look, we have to make a replacement, then they can make a replacement in that direction. Then how many times can the bylaw be changed by KBC? There is no time limit. The only questions that we need to ask ourselves is, what duration of notice do we need to give members to amend the bylaw? Some clubs put it at 14 days. Some clubs put it at 28 days. Some clubs put it at 21 days. In as much as that notice is given, you can amend the bylaws. So if you give the notice that we want to amend our bylaws, as long as that notice is given, then you can amend your bylaws. So you can amend your bylaws as much as 6 times in a Rotary year to fit in whatever you feel that is necessary to incorporate, within that Rotary year. But it is always advised that at least once every year, try and update your bylaws. Once every year, try and update your bylaws so that you include things that, evolve within the Rotary year. So there's no limit as to how you can amend your bylaws, but just give the mandatory notices before it can be amended. Now we talked about the new directorates. You know, somebody was asking, and it also comes into the line of BYL's question of recommending one. Number one is, hear me carefully. I said this is the new direction of Rotary. When you go to your portal, they expect you to report all these officers. But we've discovered that most of them are appointed. So why don't we tweak it in such a way that going forward, subsequently, we amend our bylaws and feel that, okay, these are the new directorates we want to have in our club. Nothing stops you from taping your old ones. Nothing stops you. The only disadvantage is that they will not get direct information from Rotary International. Only these listed people will get information directly. Only these people listed will get access, you know, to some areas of the portal that, you know, every club that wants to be properly administered should have access to. So going forward, it is advised that we amend our bylaws, that we make this an elective position rather than an appointive position, so that they are now going to be the composition of our various boards. A learning facilitator is important. If a foundation chair is important, the youth person is important as well. So we can look at it. So don't go and change your current positions. So please don't. They have been appointed, they have been elected, they should serve their time over. But going forward, subsequently, if you want to, in your next election, then you can amend it in that direction. Now, the issue of makeups, I thank you very much for that. You know, I have a library of makeup cards. I have a library of makeup cards because I feel that it is important that I collect it and I demand for it anywhere I go, you know, for meetings. If it's e-club of Greater Nigeria I go to, I'll say, please send me my e-makeup card. And they are very good about it. They will send it to you, which is very fantastic. However, there are rules governing makeup cards. If, for instance, my club, Rotary Club of Wuse Central, meets on Monday, and I am not at the meeting, I must make up during that week in another club. So during that week, I will present that makeup card. So if I don't attend any other club for that week, I have missed my club meeting for that week. But if I attend another club in that week, I can bring the makeup card to the club and it will count as an attendance for me for that week. So don't think that you did you fellowship with Rotary Club of Ikeja South in July. Then you want to use it as makeup for September meeting you are missing. No, it is within the week of your meeting that the makeup cards applies. So let's bring back that old days that the club secretary issues makeup cards and demand makeup cards. If you check your district governor checklist, it's always part of it. Show me sample of your makeup card. It's for us to be able to be proactive, you know, ingenious, so that when we run our club, we can also promote people to fellowship with other clubs and come up with their ideas. I think, and finally, my recommendation is that going forward, we should adapt to the changes of Rotary International, you know, by picking these members to be our